Ever been in a conversation that feels like a trap? Someone's pushing you, twisting your words, poking at your choices, and you can feel that heat rising in your chest. Your mind freezes, your heart races, and later, when it's too late, the perfect comeback finally shows up. Most of us think shutting that down means being louder, sharper, or more aggressive. But what if that belief is exactly what keeps you stuck? Because the real truth is this: the person who controls their emotions controls the conversation. Psychology shows us that people who provoke, criticize, or dominate aren't looking for truth, they're looking for a reaction. Every explanation you give, every defense you make, just gives them more control. Centuries ago, the Stoics understood this perfectly. They taught that real power isn't in winning arguments, but in choosing what deserves your energy. That's why the smartest replies aren't clever comebacks, they're quiet, brief, and emotionally neutral. They don't escalate, they don't justify, and they don't invite more drama. Welcome to the Stoic Code. In the next few minutes, you'll learn simple phrases that instantly shift the power in any conversation, not by humiliating the other person, but by removing the emotional fuel they rely on. These work with coworkers, family, difficult friends, or anyone trying to pull you into chaos. By the end, you won't just know what to say, you'll understand why it works and how to deliver it with calm confidence. But before we begin, if you're new here, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell. We create content like this regularly to help you live with more clarity and less drama, and we'd love for you to be part of our community. It really helps us grow. Let's get started. First, I don't think this conversation is productive. This reply is powerful because it reframes the entire interaction. Arguments survive when both people are focused on being right. This sentence shifts the focus to value. You're not attacking the person or calling them rude, you're simply questioning whether this exchange is worth continuing. And that's psychologically disarming. People who argue aggressively rely on one thing: your engagement. They want you emotionally involved. When you label the conversation as unproductive, you remove its purpose. You step outside the pattern of claim-counterclaim defense. Instead of asking who's right, you're asking what's the point. And once that question is in the room, the argument starts to collapse. Say it calmly, without sarcasm. Your tone matters more than the words. Calm sounds like authority, aggression sounds like frustration. This reply communicates: I value my time, I am self-aware, and I know when something isn't going anywhere. Emotionally mature people are very hard to manipulate. Second, that doesn't apply to me. This is clean, quiet, and deceptively strong. Often, confrontations continue because we accept a frame that wasn't meant for us: an accusation, a generalization, a label, and then waste energy defending against it. This sentence refuses the frame entirely. You're not arguing, correcting, or explaining. You're simply saying, you're talking about something, but it isn't me. Once you remove yourself as the target, the conversation loses its hold. This works especially well when someone speaks in blanket statements: people like you always, or everyone who does this is. Those statements are designed to pull you into defending your character. That doesn't apply to me dismantles the strategy without confrontation. It prevents identity entanglement, that feeling that your self-worth is under attack. Deliver it neutrally, almost factually. You're communicating: I know who I am, and your definition doesn't define me. That level of self-containment unsettles people who rely on emotional leverage. Third, I trust my judgment. This small sentence carries enormous psychological weight. It doesn't argue, persuade, or ask for approval. It announces that you are no longer available for external authority over your decisions. When someone questions your choices, they often expect you to defend yourself or seek reassurance. I trust my judgment offers neither. You're not saying they're wrong, you're saying they're not in charge. This signals an internal locus of control, the belief that your life is guided by your own reasoning, not external validation. People sense that immediately. It projects maturity, self-leadership, and quiet accountability. Say it with calm certainty, not defensiveness. You're stating a fact, not opening a debate. Fourth, that's your opinion. This is one of the cleanest boundary setters you can use. It doesn't challenge or escalate, it simply reclassifies what was said. Many arguments continue because someone presents their belief as an unquestionable fact. Once something is framed as truth, you feel pressure to accept, refute, or defend against it. That's your opinion, removes that pressure. You're saying, I hear you, but what you're offering is a viewpoint, not authority. The moment something becomes just an opinion, its power drops. This reply is especially useful when judgments are presented as facts, or when conversations turn preachy. Say it neutrally, like an observation, not a verdict. You're acknowledging their view without surrendering your piece. Fifth, I'll think about it. This underrated reply is conversational power in disguise. It sounds open and reasonable, but psychologically, it pauses pressure without surrendering control. Pressure thrives on immediacy, it wants you to react now, before you can reflect. I'll think about it, breaks that rhythm. You're not agreeing or refusing, you're stepping out of the moment. Slowness is dangerous to manipulation. It gives your rational mind time to reassert itself. Deliver it calmly and sincerely. You're signaling, I'm not reactive, I don't decide under pressure, and you don't control my timeline. Sixth, we're going in circles. This calmly diagnoses a conversation that has stopped moving forward. You're not criticizing the person, you're naming the pattern. Arguments often feed on the illusion of progress. As long as people think a breakthrough might come, they keep going. We're going in circles removes that illusion. You're pointing out that nothing new is being added, it's just repetition. Once repetition is recognized, persistence feels pointless. This reply introduces pattern awareness, shifting attention from emotion to structure. Say it as an observation, not a complaint. It communicates, I recognize when a discussion has stalled, and I value resolution over repetition. Seventh, you may be right. This one is psychologically disruptive. It sounds like agreement, but it's not surrender, it's strategic openness. Arguments survive on resistance, push meets push, ego meets ego. This reply removes resistance without giving up your position. When someone is arguing, they expect opposition. You may be right, gives them none of that. Instead of fighting their certainty, you soften it. And when certainty isn't challenged, it often collapses on its own. It disarms ego investment and signals emotional security. Deliver it sincerely, it's acknowledging possibility, not conceding truth. Eighth, I've already answered that. This is a quiet but firm line in the sand. It doesn't escalate, explain, or apologize, it simply refuses repetition. Repeated questions are often a pressure tactic to wear you down or make you doubt yourself. This reply breaks that pattern. You're saying, nothing has changed, and neither has my answer. That finality is disarming. It protects you from cognitive fatigue and stops the conversation from turning into an interrogation. Say it calmly and steadily. Silence afterward reinforces the boundary. Ninth, let's change the subject. Sometimes the most effective way to end an unproductive conversation is with a shift, not a rebuttal. This takes control without escalating tension. You're removing the battlefield and redirecting focus to neutral ground. Manipulative people thrive on conflict and escalation. Once you change the subject, their control diminishes. It signals that you're aware of the tension, you recognize when it's no longer productive, and you control what you engage with. Deliver it calmly and matter-of-factly, like stating a fact, not giving a command. 10th, I don't feel the need to explain myself. This is a declaration of autonomy. It removes the conversation from the battleground of persuasion. Often, confrontations continue because someone expects you to justify your choices. This reply denies them that leverage. You're stating clearly that your energy and attention are yours alone. No one is entitled to an explanation just because they ask. It sets a strong personal boundary and signals emotional independence. Say it with calm steadiness, not defensiveness. It communicates, I am secure in my decisions, and I value my peace over unnecessary debate. And there you have it. 10 simple sentences that give you control over conversations, without aggression, anger, or losing your composure. These aren't about shutting people down to hurt them. They're about shutting down unnecessary conflict while protecting your energy, focus, and peace of mind. Each one combines clarity, psychological insight, and a quiet authority that manipulative or argumentative people find hard to challenge. By practicing these, you're not just responding differently, you're shaping the dynamics of interaction itself. You're showing you're grounded, self-aware, and not dependent on others for validation. That's what makes these replies so disarming. Remember, the goal isn't to win every conversation. It's to maintain your inner calm and protect what you can control. As the Stoics taught, external events are outside your control, but your reactions, your choices, and your peace of mind are entirely within it. These replies let you act on that principle every day. Power in conversation doesn't always look loud. Sometimes the most powerful responses are quiet, measured, and deliberate. Each time you use one correctly, you're practicing mastery, not over someone else, but over yourself. So start small. Try 1 or 2 in your next challenging conversation. Notice how your calm authority changes the energy. Over time, these phrases will become second nature, and you'll notice people stop trying to push, prod, or manipulate you. Because they'll sense you're unshakable. That's the quiet power you've been building, the kind that doesn't need to argue to be respected, shout to be heard, or engage in conflict to assert itself. Use it wisely. Protect your energy. And let your calm authority do the talking. If this resonated with you, leave a comment below, share which phrase you'll try first, or tell us about a situation where you wish you'd had these tools. And if you found this helpful, please share this video with someone who needs it. Thanks for watching, and remember, true strength isn't in dominating others. It's in controlling yourself, and refusing to surrender your peace for anyone else's drama.